Hello guys, good morning. I'm gonna do the market open update starting with the 4 hours, trying to see what has changed since the update last night. And let's start with the fact that we are on the 4-hour RSI bouncing from a long-term support. This is more than 700 candles of history on the RSI 4-hour, and we have bounced from the same level that we have done around October, then in December, February, and now more recently almost about to get into March. And that is the same yellow trend line in here. What I'm looking for after having lost this white support in here is whether we're gonna get this RSI 4-hour to respect the yellow line, number one, or if we're going to put here a higher low. That will be interesting, particularly because we are at the very low bottom of the range. Consider that this is RSI 17 where we bounce. We have already pinched the global support, the white line. We have pinched the percentile, and we are pinching the last line of support in here. So after this, I would like to see some sort of bounce that breaks beyond this white line around the red circle. So in this area in here, I would like to see a breakout. If we see a breakout there, then we need to assess if the breakout is very strong and if it can manage to go beyond this white line into the top of the range. If we get that, we're gonna get a very good revenge rally that we are already in a position. Yesterday I entered at 87.1. I sent that alert into Patreon first, and then I make sure that everybody knew in the live stream just few minutes after. Let's look at the price action on the 4-hour. We have lost all major support on 4 hours, so we are literally in a lower low in here relative to January. Therefore, we need to be very careful if we had that rally, if we come back into 94.8. I know it sounds like a lot higher from here, impossible to do, but since we have had such a fast decline there, it is not guaranteed. But if we start climbing back up above 90, it's very high likely that the bounce goes to the scene of the crime around 94, 95, and potentially sees a rejection from there. It all depends. If the motivation to go there is just to clear the excessive shorts, which now we have 1 million in shorts, then potentially just by going there, we clear them and then we can bounce back down. But if there is a narrative that convinces everybody across the board, including general markets, that we are due for higher highs on S&P and Nasdaq, and Nvidia has still more to give, and there is liquidity coming into the system, and all of that, if all the stars align, then that 94.8 wouldn't necessarily become our next level of strong resistance. Let's go into the daily. I have to share with you guys the liquidation levels and all of that. I'm from the car, and if you hear some noise at the moment, it's because it's raining cats and dogs. I just left my daughter in the nursery and just look in the charts in the last 2 minutes. On the daily, we did something very similar. We went to this last line, the red one. We already took the PNR. We are in a very similar situation. As you can see, we need to break resistance, the yellow line in here. I'm getting distracted by people staring at me, looking at charts and talking by myself like a crazy person. Well, we all are a little bit by being in this market and trading Bitcoin in these conditions, right? We reset on the red line, and I'm looking for a bounce and a challenge of the same trend line, same as the 4-hour, but this is gonna take a lot longer, and I'm not even sure what's gonna be the shape in here. But few considerations. We have done already a full reset. You know, this is our fourth impulsive move to the top on the RSI daily in the full bull run from 2022, okay? And we are resetting full. So now what we need to distinguish, and I insist, is if the next move up is a dead cat bounce. If it's just a stupid bounce, where to get out? Okay, that is our main focus now, guys. And whether that thing is due to a stronger narrative that can take us much higher, well, we are going to have to really challenge that. We're not going to consume hopium from here because we have broken structure on the weekly, on the daily, on the 4-hour. Every single time frame is reset. So our focus now is to try to not absorb too much hopium, neither too much fear. There is extreme fear, so that's why we are entering in a long. But that doesn't mean that we are going to be idiots and thinking that now from 88 we go straight into 128 overnight and we need to keep the position open and just go and ignore it until we cash out. No, but we need to be a little bit more careful. On the other side, you can see here the full reset. We haven't managed to break above the full reset, so we are below it. You can see that in the red line in here. We are below that. That line is from August 2024. It's very important that we reclaim it. And I told you that I'm entering at 87.1 at a higher risk against the crowd. We have a bearish cross on the MACD, but the cross-V ratio is about to reset there into the green. That is something positive. Let's go into liquidity and let's remove this. This should be darker. Right. So we took all liquidity number 1. I refer to them from now on as 1, 2, and 3. This is longer term liquidity. We took all 1. Number 2 is in the yellow. It's less attractive than what we just took. Number 3 is very attractive, but it put us back down into the previous range of the megaphone pattern. So I think that is, I will say, unlikely. Number 2 is possible, and 1 is gone. Pretty much 90% of it. There is just a tiny bit left over at 85. So I'm satisfied if price now goes to 85, and then from 85 it says, okay, I'm done with it, let's start climbing. Or if we go even to 82 and we take that and we start climbing, a V recovery from there will be beautiful, even if we are at 86 or 87 that I enter, because we can from there go back into 90s and 100 potentially. And if we go to number 2 and we take the CME, that is my area to add more. Let's go into high block capital. Notice that the liquidation levels, I'm looking at longer term now, because in shorter term there is not much to say. There is not much liquidity on the lower end, so I cannot really see. The bidding has become thinner, much more balanced. That means that there is an ongoing battle and people are trying to short 89 around that area, and they're not wanting to let the price to go back into 90s. Everybody's going short there, and that's why we have almost 1 million now in liquidation levels. In delta, sorry, you can see this is the delta, and I think it's just a little bit below 1 million, 964 around that area, but that's a heck of a lot of liquidations that are affecting shorts, putting them in bigger risk. So I wouldn't short from here. I wouldn't join 1 million in liquidations on Binance. We are still with a heck of a lot of longs. They're persisting there. Funding rates went back into the positive, and people are not necessarily with very high leverage in here. Not necessarily. That has reduced. They went high leverage in here, they took profits, they closed positions. Now we are back into a cooler area, and we continue into extreme fear. So in my opinion, there are chances for that revenge rally into some resistance. We need to be on the lookout potentially for exiting. If you're on Patreon, pay attention to your email in case we start rallying today or over the weekend and I decide to cut a little bit of the size of the position, I will let you know. And you guys are always going to get it via a video as well on Telegram, Instagram. It's just that I'm always going to privilege getting the people on Patreon that are supporting the channel, that are paying $10 a month to help me getting my editor to edit this video and to write down the summaries that you get on the email. That helps scale up the channel and alleviates some of my work. So thanks so much for supporting Patreon and all of that. If you like this type of updates, hit the like, write down a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.